Hello, my name is Dario Dusio. I'm an Italian emotional wedding photographer, and you are listening to the Workflow Photography Podcast.
Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Well, so I have some good news before we dive in. Besides from Yotam, Yoav, and Ron, you're my first coworker to be on the show.
Oh my God.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
It is.
We've been trying to do this for a while, and so I'm glad that we're making it happen.
My health wasn't cooperating, but it is now.
Both of us.
Yeah, then your health wasn't cooperating. So, health.
Yeah.
Being old sucks.
yeah, it does. So I want to get right into this.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I know what we're talking about, but you don't know what we're talking about. So for those who don't know who you are, for those who, of course, we're going to link to who you are and stuff like that in the show notes. But for those who are listening who want a quick summary of who you are, what you do for Imagine, but also for your photography, give us that summary.
Okay. So for Imagine, I'm a partnership manager. I have been at Imagine forever. It's been over 3 years. I found Imagine because I was a user and because it saved my career, because I am also a destination international wedding photographer. I shoot weddings all over the world, which makes me travel way too much and not have time for my family when I get back home. So thanks to Imagine, I now have time to be with my family, to nap, to be with my cute dogs, and to, have a life. So I fell in love with Imagine, and I have so much more free time now that I decided that I wanted to give back to the community and to Imagine. And then I started working at Imagine, and it's very fun and very cool to be able to actually work in a place where I believe that the product is literally the best, and the company is so
lives.
good, and everything is so cool that it almost does not feel like a job, because I get to talk to people and help them have a better work-life balance, and that is just priceless.
Yeah. Off the top of your head, how many different Waffle Houses have you had photo sessions at?
2.
Just 2?
Just 2.
Okay. But you've enjoyed the meals at many more.
Yes, I've enjoyed the meals at many more because Waffle House is my favorite. I know people are going to listen to this and think like, one, what is Waffle House if they are not in America? If they're not, please go to America. And if you go to Waffle House. Or if you go to America, go to Waffle House. Not please go to America, because right now, sorry, not getting into politics, but it's not the ideal. Anyways, Waffle House, waffles, all-day breakfast, greasy bacon. It's like, seriously, I should be sponsored by them. I just love Waffle House.
This episode is not sponsored by Waffle House, but...
No, but I should be. I should be. Like, Waffle House is, I'm their biggest fan.
Yeah.
I'm just, every time I travel somewhere in America, I'm like, let me see if there's a Waffle House
Where's
nearby.
the closest Waffle House?
Yeah. And if it's an hour away, it's doable.
Yeah. In my drive last month down to North Carolina, which was a 7-hour drive, if we didn't stop, but we stopped, I think I passed like 4 Waffle Houses on that drive.
And you just remember me every time you see one, right?
Yeah, it's just, oh, Anna.
Yeah, see, I should be an ambassador for Waffle House. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, Waffle House, if you're listening to this, just send me bacon.
Yeah. Just send me bacon. Okay, so as a destination photographer, besides from Imagine, because we know Imagine's changed your life, changed your business, right? It's done a lot for you and for me and for many others.
Yeah.
Besides from Imagine, what is one thing in your workflow overall, from behind the camera to delivery? What is one part of your workflow that's been going well as a destination wedding photographer?
Sorry, this is a tricky one. The workflow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Backing up?
Yeah, well, so talk about your backup.
Backups are like life. I'm obsessed with backups. Now I also back up at Imagine, but other than that, I have external drives that I back up to, and then that I just insert my SD card in, and that backup automatically.
And those are going with you?
Yeah.
Those are traveling with you?
Yeah. So I travel with an external drive. Then I have one external drive at my mom's, so that if my house burns down, I have an external drive there. And I also have everything in the cloud. And I only delete the SD cards after I deliver everything. So I have a gazillion SD cards. And I have little drawers for SD cards with the names of the couples. And so that is one part of my workflow that I really enjoy, is when I deliver everything, I get to have new SD cards because they've been just sitting there for a while.
I will say, so you shoot Fuji, I shoot Nikon, and right now, Nikon made the decision to use CF Express cards. And so they're far more expensive than SD cards, unfortunately. I mean, it's secondary card is the SD card. I could just use the SD card and have one memory card, but like for me in my workflow, I couldn't do like a memory card per client and just like use it as storage because it would just get so expensive.
I couldn't because I fear that cards get corrupted. They do.
Yeah.
It happens. So I could never shoot on one slot. I have to have two slots, and I have to have backup at the time I'm shooting.
Yeah.
So, but the CF are so much better. They're super quick. And
and they're actually less prone to corruption as well. Like the way that they're made, for some reason, they're more durable than SD cards. They're less likely to corrupt or fail, whatever. I do want to mention something that just happened to me that I think on the topic of backups is worth bringing up here on the podcast. And I just shared this in the Imagine community last night. We're recording this early May, and I'll link to this post in the community in the show notes as well. I use a Mac Studio as my main computer at home. And for the past week, I've been seeing my storage get used up and used up and used up. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I'm looking in the system preferences under storage, 1.2 terabytes just of system data, right? That's all it's classified in under the storage configuration, whatever, under system preferences. I couldn't figure it out. And I use Clean My Mac, that app, in order to like clean caches and stuff like that. It didn't clear out enough. And I'm like, what? Where is this? It's literally 1.2 terabytes. Where's it coming from? And I remembered that I owned Daisy Disk, which is a hard drive, SSD drive, like mapping app that visualizes exactly what is using storage.
Okay.
With like a heat map and stuff like that. And then you can drill into each folder to figure out what inside of this folder, whatever. Turns out it was Backblaze. Backblaze I've been using since the day it came out, almost 20 years at this point. I've been using Backblaze. I don't know how old they are, but long time. So you're talking terabytes and terabytes of data that's backed up from my system and all my externals to Backblaze. And it's one part of my backup workflow. And there was an update last week of the Backblaze app. And I'm like, there's a bug in this update and it's using up all my storage. My only option was uninstall Backblaze.
Oh.
So I did it. All my storage came back. And when I reinstalled Backblaze, it started from scratch. It wouldn't let me inherit state. So I have to reback everything
exactly.
up.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So it's not the end of the world because like I still have all my stuff. And right now, like in the Backblaze back in their dashboard, it shows two Mac Studios. I can still recover from the other if I had to, but it's not
ideal.
It's not ideal, and it just goes to show like never rely on one backup source. Always have redundancy, whether it's cloud versus physical versus two clouds versus three physicals, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
And Imagine also has a blog article on this that I wrote a long time ago about backups and my workflow and stuff like that. So I'll also link to that in the show notes for this. So
Love backups.
Yep. Is there any other part of your workflow that's been working really well for you, that you've been like very happy with, that you wouldn't change a thing?
I don't think I would change a thing at my overall workflow, to be honest. I think the whole thing is pretty much how I want it after 16 years. I think there's a few things that I do a bit differently from most of my colleagues, at least. But that has more to do with client interaction than what you would call like the physical workflow. It's more a mentality kind of thing, because I'm one of those people that's, as you know, always on. So if it's 2:00 in the morning and someone messages me, I will reply if I'm awake. And
As I know.
yes, as you know, I will even sing if I'm awake and you're playing. You know, that has happened. But yeah, the thing is, for me, it's very important to be very consistent and very you in everything you do, and especially in your job, right? Because that's something that you need to be very good at. Otherwise, you won't succeed. This is a overly saturated industry, and if you don't have your processes in place and you're just figuring things out, something may fail at some point. And so for me, it's very important to reach a place where I'm comfortable and I feel like I'm doing my best. I know that my health hasn't been always great. Sometimes I did fail my clients, always in communication with them. Everyone knows all the time what to expect, and expected things happen. Family members die. We are human beings. But that is part of my flow. So being very communicative with my clients, letting them always keep their expectations in sync, knowing, having them know if any mishaps happen, always never having a mishap with storage. But if anything else happens, I need them to know so that they're prepared if something gets like a week behind, or because it can happen. It doesn't often, but it can, especially in video that we also do. That takes forever still. I'm hoping that Imagine Video comes to change that.
Yeah. And it's worth mentioning your husband also does video, right?
My
so he's a
husband does
videographer.
video, and I try to help him because my photos get delivered like this, and then the video takes forever. and that
hopefully not much longer.
Much longer.
But hopefully not for much longer. Hopefully that changes
hopefully
soon.
not for much longer. Imagine I've been testing it and it has been working great. So nice. I'm just excited for what's to come. But I think it's very important to be very transparent and very in sync with your clients, and also to get the kind of clients that, you know, like you and that you can connect with and that will feel empathetic towards you when something happens, and not the kind of clients that will say, oh, I don't care if your grandfather died. You have to come shoot my engagement shoot this weekend, because that literally happened to me once and it wasn't cool.
There was 2 jobs that I've had, one recent, one almost 10 years ago, where I wasn't sure if I could do it because of things going on. One was literally last week, I had pneumonia, speaking of health, and that Saturday, so this past Saturday, I had a proposal to photograph. And I mean, even you were texting me, you need to rest.
Yes, just go back to bed.
Yeah, so I spent the day not exerting my body in any way. Like, I didn't work out at all. I just laid in bed or I sat in a chair and I worked, but I took it easy, right? And got healthy enough that I was able by Saturday to do the proposal.
Okay.
I coughed. I even told them ahead of time. Well, I told the client. I didn't tell the person that was being surprised.
Yes.
With the proposal, but afterwards she knew. So like that was one thing where I was like, I can't let my client down, right? Sure, I could find somebody last minute to take my place, but I am not letting my client down. The other was when my daughter was 16 months old and my wife had a major health issue and she's in the hospital and I'm questioning, I had a destination wedding to photograph and I'm questioning, this is a friend of mine that asked me to do this. And I'm like, do I go? My wife's literally in the hospital. Like, what do I do? And we had our support system in place. My wife's whole family was there and they're like, go, we got this. Don't worry about it. I was mentally home. I was physically there in New Orleans photographing this wedding. And again, the clients knew, my friends who were getting married knew this was happening. So they understood.
Yeah.
But still. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about destination weddings, it all seems magical and beautiful and bright for anyone who's not used to doing them. And when you start doing them, your perspective just switches. It's completely different to actually know what goes into being a destination wedding photographer. It's not sunshine and rainbows. It's not easy. It's not fun. Yes. Like you're going to a place where you've never been. You don't know how the transport system works, how the people act, how the hotel is going to be, how the wedding is going to be. You can prepare the more you can in advance, and then something can happen. Like I had a wedding in Switzerland once, and the day before we had the pre-wedding shoot because I always want to get to know my clients beforehand. So we had it the day before the wedding and it started to rain. And at 3:00 in the morning, I woke up with 39.5 degrees Celsius. And I had a full day of wedding to shoot the next day. And I'm at a destination. I don't know anyone in Switzerland. Well, I do now, but at the time I didn't. I didn't have a backup. I couldn't say, you know what, guys, I'm sick, so let's just call it a day and let's do it this in another day. Because she was American, he was Israeli. They both decided to get married in Switzerland, and I'm like, yeah, okay, 39.5, and I didn't shut the wedding. I had to. I was in Austria when my grandmother died. Had to shoot the wedding. Had to push through. Had a wedding the day after my other grandmother died. The main character of that wedding was the bride's grandmother. Who was her best friend. I cried a lot. I was crying the whole time. It's a thing. You have a life. Yeah. You're also a human being, but also flights get canceled a lot.
Right. Yep.
Get postponed a lot. You have to travel a few days before. You travel with a lot of money and gear. You're afraid something's going to happen. I even have this stupid fear that something's going to happen to me on the plane, or that the plane is going to, knock on wood, that the plane is going to crash. And actually, up to Imagine, this was a very big thing for me. This was what happens to the client. They hired me, they paid for my flights, they paid for my fee, they paid for everything. And then I just have an accident and they lose everything because camera's with me, my backup's with me, everything's with me. And the hotel did not have a good enough connection so that I could upload the photos. But now actually what I do is, and I talk about this often, I get to the hotel and while I'm asleep, it's uploading to Imagine. Because Imagine only needs a little bit of connection to actually be able to upload my DNGs, and it's high quality. And if anything happens to me, my husband will be able to, with one click, get all the files, call them, edit them in my style, deliver to the client, and only then he will let them know that I was in that fatal accident.
Which will never happen, by the way.
Would never happen. But still,
this is a hypothetical
a very hypothetical,
Story.
not
Yes.
question, but still very nice for me to know that there's that whole system's in place.
Yes.
And regardless, it's everything's safe, and that gives me a great peace of mind and allows me to actually sleep as soon as I enter the plane and wake up when it lands.
Sometimes I can sleep on a plane. So let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
What in your workflow is not 100% where you want it to be, but you're working on it? Something that you know needs some tweaking. You're just either trying to find the time to do it, or you've been procrastinating and just haven't, spent the time to do it. Any part of your workflow from start to finish.
There's a non-existent part that I would love to have.
Okay.
Yes. So everything I do, I love. I wouldn't change it. I would like to add something.
Okay.
That is social media.
Everybody's favorite part.
Like, I would love to post. I would love to blog. I would love to update my website. Fact is, I don't need it. I'm very comfortably fully booked always, and I rely on word of mouth for my business, and I'm very happy with it. But still, wouldn't it be a great massage to my ego to actually have Instagram followers? Yes, it would. Wouldn't it be great for people to actually be able to see my work online? Yes, it would. Last year, I did 4 posts. One of them was saying, this year, I'm going to post more. Yeah, right.
Gotta love that.
This year, I think I made 1 post. That was when I said, you know what, guys? I decided I'm going to blog.
And then you didn't blog.
This always happens in January, by the way. It's, you get that new year feel that you're going to do stuff, then you don't. So my workflow in the area of what happens after I deliver to the clients, it's an existence. What happens is everything's backed up, everything is delivered, the clients are happy, album is delivered, done.
Yeah.
And my business just doesn't matter. And that is something that I would love to add to my workflow. Just post on Instagram, create a reel.
I will say, I think word of mouth will always win the day, right? For what I've noticed for my own, and I know, as you know, I focus on proposals. Pretty much that's it, right? What I've noticed is every single client is either word of mouth or Google, literally an organic Google search, because I don't do ads. I never get anything from social media, ever. So
yeah, but what I mean, social media, I also mean website, blog, whatever. I do nothing.
Yeah.
I do nothing. It's sad. It's like I don't work. When people go and they're like, oh, last time she shot a wedding was in 2022. Well, actually, I had like 50, but yeah.
I wonder if what you need is not necessarily having to post often yourself, but rather some sort of automation in place to do it for you.
Yeah.
There's lots of tools that can do it for you.
No, the problem is I still have to choose one photo. And I'm emotionally involved with the wedding. So for me, the best photo is that one because, look at the face of that grandmother looking at. And then someone else will come and say like, no, what? That's a bad photo. What are you talking about? And then someone else, the bride and groom will prefer a different photo. Sometimes I even asked my clients, tell me your favorite photo and why.
But you know what? I think you could do the photo that you think is the best for emotional reasons that others may not, if you structure your Instagram posts and whatnot in that way. Doing it as emotionally driven content instead of just what people think are...
Then for the other people, it may not be as emotional because they weren't there. They won't understand.
True. But at the same time, they might understand the fact that you are an emotionally driven wedding photographer.
Oh, I am.
They could connect with you on that front.
Person.
Yeah.
Full stop. Emotion is my jam.
That's right. Yeah, I think that there's ways that you could do it. Like, for example, one tool that I use for social media in particular, because it allows me to be very hands off, is Missing Letter. I can give it a blog article from 10 years ago and say, post this over the next year, and it automatically figures out my schedule, picks the images from the blog article, comes up with the snippets, and I don't have to do anything.
Okay, we'll have to circle back to this later. Yeah.
There's things that could help for sure, but
again, I need to put a workflow in place for that.
Yeah. I have one more question for you, and I'm interested to hear your answer, but I think those who fit this will enjoy the answer even more than me, because I'm a dude.
Oh.
My question to you, my last question to you, is if you had to give advice to a new photographer coming into the industry that is female or someone in the LGBTQ plus community, what would it be? Somebody just starting their business.
Yeah. So I'm incredibly proud to be part of a few minorities. I am a woman in a male-dominated area. I am not white. I am not straight. So this is very important for me. This is actually something that is very important. I have felt discrimination several times in this area of work. I have had a client in an interview say, "Are you Indian?" I was like, "Well, my family, I don't work with Indians." I was like, "Oh, okay, bye." I don't work with racists. I have had clients message me after I posted some content, which doesn't happen often, but I posted content and they were like, "I cannot believe you posted two women kissing." I was like, "Have you met me? Like, what's going on?" So what was very important for me was also a shift that I had to make on my own business, was make it extremely transparent of who I am and what I defend. So I have a form, okay? I have a form that some people hate. As soon as they hire me, so first, you go on my website, you see dogs, you see queer, you see plus size, you see different races, skin tones. I don't love the word race, but you see, diversity. You see people, you see love, you see fun. You don't just see the skinny white Vogue couple. Right. That is amazing. I love them as well. I just love everyone equally. And I especially love shooting people that are not the skinny white couple and that don't feel that comfortable on their skin because they've been told at some point in their lives that they were worth less than someone else. Right. I've been told so many times that I'm worth less than a white person or than a man or than a straight person, or that it's something that is really difficult for me to accept. So I created a form, as I was saying, and this form literally says, okay, are you pro-gay marriage? Or no, are you against gay marriage? Are you against the right of choice? Are you against feminine power? Are you against immigrants working in your country? Like immigrants, not illegals, just people from other countries. Are you against this, against that? And then at the end, I say, okay, if you click yes to any of these questions, please find yourself another photographer. I have gotten a few emails of people very mad at this. Like, you're discriminating. Well, I'm discriminating against people who discriminate, so I really don't lose any sleep over it.
Yeah.
But I just really want to be extremely transparent in my work. And I also want to protect my mental health in a way that I don't have to actually, because I'm a destination wedding photographer, imagine going across the globe to shoot a wedding of people who don't accept anything or something about me. Okay? Yeah. That's just wrong. It's not the kind of people I want to give my energy, my love, and pour my soul into. So I decided that this was something that was very important for me. And it's something that I really, truly advise people to do, especially if they're starting out, so that they don't become burnout and sick of this job, because you really have to be very passionate to shoot weddings. It's very tiring. You really have to love what you do. Otherwise, there are other things you can shoot, because weddings are long and they're once in a lifetime events, or if you're like me, 6 in a lifetime events. But, quick parenthesis to explain that I got married 6 times to the same person. So hence 6 in a lifetime. Still,
might
once
be
in a lifetime events, and the pressure is on. So it's a very delicate and responsible job. Yeah. And if you're not fully comfortable with it or happy with it, then you won't last long in the industry. So to make sure that you do, you have to just embrace who you want to work with, define your target audience, and just be very mindful about the things you post, say, and do to protect yourself.
Yeah. I think if you were to photograph a couple, again, hypothetical situation, I think if you were to photograph a couple that was straight white couple, right? And you didn't ask the questions that you do ask your, potential clients in that form, and you got to the wedding and you noticed there's not one other skin tone here besides white.
Well, that has happened a lot.
But there's this, if you got there and there was this vibe of, there's that underlying racism there or something happening, right? And you didn't notice ahead of time, I think that would impact the work you produce, because in the back of your mind, you'd be thinking about that the whole time.
I can actually answer this very, very, very well, because that has happened to me. I shot a wedding. The bride hired me through Instagram, where I am incredibly transparent as well. Mm-hmm. The only thing I post on Instagram are stories about the LGBTQ community, anti-racism, etc. Mm-hmm. So she did see my stories. This was pre-form, by the way. Yeah. This was before I did the forum, and before I restructured my website to be as transparent. So the bride hired me. She was a sweetheart. I loved her. I get to the wedding, and so it's me, my black videographer, and my gay second shooter. Not gay, just extremely gay, extremely exuberant. And me, Asian woman in charge. And we get there and we look at the table names. And the table names were all suggestive of the fascist era in Portugal. And all of them were extreme right-wing, and they vote for our almost fascist party. And I even have a tattoo that says no to sexism, no to racism, no to disableism, and no to homophobia. And a guest asked me to cover that specific tattoo. My work on that day, I can 100% tell you, it sucked. Not only my mind was Should we stay? Should we go? Are we going to be like sacrificed? Are they going to make an
I don't want to
example
be
out of
here.
us? Why
Yeah.
did I bring my friends into this? Why did I bring
Yeah.
my colleagues? Why didn't I know this so that I could get a team of straight white people to come with me? And at the end of the day, the father had to pay because they wanted to pay in cash on the day. And the father just went up to the DJ and said, I noticed you're her friend. You're their friend. He was like, yeah, can I pay you for their services? And my straight white DJ was like, no. And the guy just, I was looking at this happen, okay? And the guy just, and he goes to my videographer. And he goes like, okay, I want to pay you because black is less bad than gay.
Apparently, okay.
On his mind, I don't know. Can I pay you? And he was like, no, that's with her. That's with the boss there. And he was like, yeah, I'm not going to give her the money. Can you just count it? He was like, no, you have to give her the money because I'm not even touching it. And he comes up to me and he's like, here's the money. I want you to count it in front of me. I was like, sure, that I was going to do that anyways. He was like, yeah, but I want your colleague to come over here. Not my videographer, my DJ, their DJ. That was my friend. It's like, actually, he's one of my good friends, so I don't mind. But what the hell?
Yeah.
I was like,
this guy. Yeah.
Like, can you come over here, please? And I was like, okay, this is not happening. That was the day I decided, okay, I'm creating a form. I'm making it like super clear. This cannot happen. This is not acceptable. And I postponed. I was never as late to deliver a wedding as I was that when I could not pick up those photos.
Oh, I could imagine. I wouldn't want to go through those. Oh.
I didn't want to. I didn't feel like it. I wasn't inspired. I felt it in my bones that anything I was going to do with it, it would suck. The photos suck. They're like the worst photos I've ever taken. I've taken better photos with a high fever than I did being uncomfortable with.
It goes to show you like your mental state can sometimes impact your work, your creative work, way more than your physical state.
Oh, a lot. Yeah. So a few days after my grandfather died, I had a wedding and I was in a very depressive stage. The wedding was amazing. People were amazing. Everything was amazing. My work on that specific day is so different than my regular work.
Yeah.
Because I was dark, okay, inside. So all of my photos are like exploring the little bit of light that comes in. And usually I'm just like, bam, light. I love light, just all the light, just let's go. And that one was the opposite. But it was still great. It was still great. I mean, for me, obviously, if I didn't like my the way I do my thing, I would be lying. Right. But that wedding, it just sucked. And then the bride was like, yeah, we don't have a lot of photos of the two of us because I wasn't even comfortable like directing, asking them to leave to do some photos. I wasn't comfortable. The whole day was just a mess for me.
Yeah.
As soon as we realized that people weren't going to dance, I never left a wedding that early. I was like, nothing's happening, so you know what, we're going to go. Okay, are you sure you don't need us? So bye. And I was like, run, guys, run. Let's run to the car. I know, I'm sorry, this is going to be a very political, and I know not everyone's going to agree with me. I know a lot of people do not shoot LGBTQ weddings. A lot of people don't, but okay, this is me, okay? I'm sorry if I'm an extremely political person, and though I do think that work should not be political, work should also be comfortable for you. Yeah. So there are some lines that for me are non-breakable. okay, and non-discussable. So if you're someone I don't want to work with, I'm not going to work with you, because if you don't have to believe exactly the same things, but you have to respect them.
And there's certain things that, yes, part of it might be political, but like I'm not a political person at all, but I look at it just as values. I have my values, and I'm not going to put myself in a situation that goes against my values, right? Yeah. And so I think you could look at it. You could look at it as a political thing. You could not look at it as a political thing. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to values, right? You have your values, and I think it's good for your mental and physical state to stand by those values.
Yes.
And it's good for your business to stand by your values. And I think you're doing a good job at it. And
thank you.
And I'm so grateful that we're able to do this, and you're able to share your personal stories. And I know that you get so emotional when you talk about these things. So
I do.
Thank you for sharing it. And do you want to share where? Again, we'll link to in the show notes. But if for those who are listening, where can everybody find you?
Can I swear?
No.
If you want to see my show of socials, I'm Ana Pastoria everywhere. It's on Instagram, my website, Facebook, and that is it, because that's the only. I do not own a TikTok. I'm not good at. I mean, I have rad dance moves. I've perfected them over the years, and I'm partially Indian, so of course I have rad dance moves, not TikTok ones, though, not coordinated, and you do not want to see them. So I do not have a TikTok. I know TikTok is not only for dancing, by the way, but I'm old, so I do not have a TikTok. I do not have. I do have Threads. I think I've been there like twice. I love Reddit, but that's not a really social platform for you to see my work, only to see my opinions that are a lot and very strong. But yeah, Ana Pastoria everywhere, and do like my pages, because my ego needs to be massaged, even though I don't post anything.
Thank you, Ana, and I appreciate you as always.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
You have been listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast. To hear more from Workflows, to learn more about our guest, and for an exclusive offer for Workflows listeners, please go to workflowspodcast.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.